Today, we are going to break down one of the most eye-opening management demonstrations of all time, the Red Beads Experiment. It's this simple, kind of strange game that completely flips our whole idea of performance, rewards, and who's really in charge of the results.
So let me just start with this question. We're always told that success is all about individual effort, right? You just work harder, you get better results. But what if that's just not true most of the time? This little experiment puts that entire idea on trial.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Imagine you're in a factory and there's an urgent order. You need to produce white beads. Simple enough. Management goes out and hires 6 people, and they call them willing workers. And from minute 1, they're told their jobs are totally on the line depending on how well they do. The pressure is on.
And here's the deal management lays out for them. It's crystal clear. Your performance is all on you. You do well, you keep your job, maybe even get a raise. You mess up, you're gone. I mean, on the surface, that sounds pretty fair, doesn't it?
Now, the job itself is incredibly rigid. They're given exact instructions on how to hold things, how to pour, and how to dip this special paddle into a big container of beads. Their goal is to produce white beads, and any red ones they scoop up are defects. But here's the absolute kicker. They can't change a single thing about this process. They have to follow these rules to the letter. So, the work starts. You've got these motivated workers, they've got clear instructions, and they know the stakes are high. But as you're about to see, the way management reacts to what happens next, well, it just creates this totally frustrating cycle of chaos.
All right, day 1 is in the books. Each of the 6 workers has had their turn, and here are the results. As you can see, the numbers are all over the map. Tracy and Ron get 12 red beads, which is bad. But then Chris, he only gets 5. So, faced with this data, what do you think management does?
Well, they do exactly what you'd expect. They reward the best and punish the worst. Chris, with that low score of 5, is celebrated. He's the star performer. He gets a raise. Meanwhile, Tracy and Ron, who got 12, they're immediately put on probation. Management is reacting directly to the numbers, assuming they're a perfect reflection of skill and effort.
And of course, management has to help, right? So they roll out all the classics. You got the motivational posters. Be a quality worker. Take pride. Then they set this totally arbitrary new target. No more than 3 red beads. They even declare a 0 defect day and threaten to shut the whole operation down. They're throwing every tool they have at the people.
The next 3 days are just a mess. On day 2, Ron, the guy on probation, suddenly becomes the best performer and gets a raise. But the team's overall score gets even worse. Then on 0 defect day, the scores range from 3 all the way to 15. Finally, on day 4, management has had it. They fire Richard. Nothing they're doing is working.
Then management gets this brilliant idea. They decide to fire the 3 worst performers and just keep the 3 best ones. The result of having only their star players on the line? It was, and I quote, "the worst day we ever had." I mean, you can't make this stuff up. Something is seriously wrong here.
Okay, this is the big turning point. The blame, the rewards, the posters, none of it made a lick of difference. So now we're going to look at all that same data, but in a completely new light to figure out what was really going on.
Let's just zoom all the way out. Over those 4 days, across every single one of those 24 attempts, the workers produced a grand total of 224 red beads.
Now, if you take that number, 224, and divide it by the 24 attempts, you get an average of 9.33. This isn't just a number. This is the heartbeat of the system. It's the result the process itself was designed to churn out over and over again. And using that data, we can figure out something called statistical control limits. Now, don't let the fancy name fool you. Just think of these as the natural guardrails of the system. The math tells us that, on any given try, we should fully expect the result to land somewhere between 1 and 18 red beads. This isn't a goal, it's just a prediction of the normal random variation baked right into the process. And here it is, the big reveal. Remember all those scores? The 5 that got Chris that big raise? The 12 that put Ron on probation? Every single one of them fell smack in the middle of these control limits. Nobody was an outlier. Nobody was a hero, nobody was a slacker. They were all just delivering a result that the system was built to produce. As the man behind the experiment, W. Edwards Deming, said himself, this realization is both shocking and terrifying. Management was literally rewarding and punishing people for random chance. The workers, for all their effort, had basically no control. They were just trapped inside a faulty system. So what's the point of all this? Why are we talking about this simple experiment today? Because it demands that we completely flip how we think about management and performance itself.
What this really shows is a fundamental shift we need to make. See, traditional management is all about managing people. You focus on individual results, you reward the high numbers, punish the low ones, and you blame people when things go wrong. This experiment proves that's often a total waste of time. The better way is to manage the system. You focus on the process, you understand that some variation is totally normal, and you work on improving the whole system so everyone can succeed.
And that brings us to the final question, the one I want to leave you with. Take a hard look at your own workplace. When somebody on your team knocks it out of the park, is it because they're a genius, or did the system just happen to deal them a great hand that day? And when someone's struggling, is it really their fault, or is the process setting them up to fail? The Red Beads experiment is a powerful reminder. If you really want to improve performance, you have to stop trying to fix the people and start fixing the work.